Director of Business Development here at Scoop Soldiers. We are in Tampa at the Tampa River Fest, and I am here with Alicia, and she is the chaos coordinator of DARE. And we had talked a little bit, and the rescue is just fabulous. So I asked her if she'd be so nice in the sweaty weather to kind of give us a once-over of her.
But we have the
event.
shade, so that's really good.
And this fan's ingenious.
So I am with DARE, Dachshund Adoption, Rescue, and Education, where every dog is a wiener. We are a breed-specific rescue. We rescue Dachshunds and Dachshund mixes. And we operate within the state of Florida. We are 100% volunteer-driven and funded. We only survive on donations. So if you'd like to donate, darerescue.org. And if you would like to volunteer or foster, darerescue.org. We are all over the state of Florida. And again, if you love Dachshunds and you want to help your community, come volunteer with us, because the wiener dogs really need it.
So I know a lot of people don't always understand, and I know you do, I don't understand where rescues come from. I think people think they go to the pet store and they buy this little cute puppy and then they bring it home and it's 4 months old and they peed on the carpet and then they can't have this dog, right? So they take it to the shelter, and I think people believe they take their dog to a rescue and then a cute little family shows up the next day and takes the puppy home.
Not always.
Not always. So where do you guys mainly get your rescues from? Are you working a kill list or shelters or?
So our rescue will take in any dog based on availability.
Okay.
We will take in owner surrenders. The little guy down here actually was an owner surrender for behavior issues.
Okay.
So he was surrendered. We take in our first priority are dogs in the shelter. Dogs that have our potential to be euthanized are always our first priority, but we also take in surrenders.
Okay.
We're in Florida. There's a lot of snowbirds. There's a lot of senior citizens. And I would say at least 50% of our owner surrenders come from family members who someone passed away and the family's like,
and they can't take
I don't want the dog, or I can't take it. That's at least 50% of our owner surrenders. So I always tell people, make a plan. If your plan is for the dog to go to rescue, notify the rescue. Hey, when I die, my family's gonna bring you the dog, right? We'll work with you.
Okay.
So it's shelter dogs and owner surrenders. That's where we get them from. Okay. Sometimes we have dogs dumped by breeders that don't sell or have deformities.
So that's what we call a breeder reject.
Yes, we actually have one that is in foster. He's not on our website, but his back legs don't work. And we've had him since he was 4 days old from the breeder. So we're working with him. He's got neurologic issues. We're working on all of that. And he's like 6 months old now. So it's been a process, but he's soon going to be ready for adoption. So that's fabulous. So dogs come from all walks of life. A couple of the dogs we got recently came from someone who was recently incarcerated, and the family said, we can't take these dogs. And I'm like, we will take them. So, you know, dogs come with just such an open heart, and we don't know their baggage always. We don't always know what it is.
But sometimes we don't really even want to know, right?
We don't want to know.
We just want to fix it.
We just want to love them.
We just want to fix it. I don't want to know the bad things.
We want to love them, but we also don't want to pick up the poop. Am I right? I mean, you got a business on this.
Scoop Soldier, we don't mind. Maybe we don't mind.
I mind, but I'm glad that you don't mind, because we need people like you in the world too. So it's very important.
When people adopt a dog, you know, like people are like, oh, like what food are you gonna feed them? Who's you're gonna? No one ever. Most people don't say, hey, who's scooping the poop? Like that's like the afterthought until you go out in your yard and you're like, holy.
And you know when they think about it? When they step in it.
When they when the dog steps in it, and
that's when you think
track it onto the carpet, all that kind of stuff. So if people, so your main way of kind of, I don't want to say dispersing dogs, but like finding homes is events, and then social media and website and all that kind of good stuff.
So we basically do 2 events a year, which is this event in May, and then the
one in
event in November, which is Dachshund-palooza, and it's amazing. And so we're in Florida. Like it's only 10 a.m. and it's so hot. We have fans.
We're not from here. Well, we have franchise owners here. I'm from Chicago. I'm melting.
Yeah. So in Florida, we don't do a lot of events. We do virtual things. We have pampered chef consultants. We do all kinds of virtual stuff because it's so hot in Florida, and it's a really long day.
So if there's a business in Florida, like a groomer or a
100%.
Or I can't think, like the Pampered Chef or whatever.
Chef, Etsy.
Or even a volunteer that wanted to do a Pampered Chef party and donate the proceeds to. Could that person reach out to you and say, hey, I'd like to do I can't think of anything right now, like a Tupperware party, and then you can say, perfect. Like
all of the big companies do it online now. So I mean, you know, when COVID, you were doing in-home parties, right? So, but now it's post-COVID, everything's online. So I probably get at least 1 or 2 emails a week from different consultants wanting to do different things, and it's so easy. They set it up, we share the link with our social media followers, which we're doing well over 100,000 in social media.
Holy
I mean,
smokes.
and ours is organic. We don't pay for ads. The dogs do the social media marketing for us.
I can see it. This one's cute.
They're so amazing. And so, you know, we like to partner. The community supports us. We like to support them. It's so important. We run razor thin margins as a rescue. I mean, sometimes we just have to hold intake because we're waiting to get funds in so we can give medical care. So it's very, very challenging.
The best rescues are the ones that run it like a business.
We
right?
do.
You gotta, you have to be able to.
We're selling
generate
merch.
revenue.
We are selling merch.
I mean, these cute dogs they eat. They need medical. I mean, medical's insane for you guys. So.
And you know, even basic shots now is running us somewhere in the average of around $200 to $300 between vaccines, heartworm, and flea prevention. Flea prevention is so important, and it is one of the most expensive things. Heartworm's actually manageable. It's less than like $5 a day.
But it's another thing to add on to the bill.
Yeah.
So talk to me a little bit about your adoption process. So somebody, because I know I've been in rescue forever too. We want every dog to find a home, but we want to try our best to get that dog to get into the right home and stick. So we don't want to bounce back. So how does someone says, oh my gosh, I love this puppy. They go to the website. What happens from there?
So when someone fills out an application on our website, we ask them a lot of questions. People compare it to like adopting a human child.
It is, yeah.
But our philosophy is this. These dogs have come to us through no fault of their own, whether it's behavior, shelter, death, whatever. And it's our job to make sure that their next home is their permanent home. We don't want them being a pizza on a checkerboard.
They're not. You can't not that a child would understand that either, but you can't be like, hey, buddy, I'm sorry.
And these guys get so attached.
Yeah,
and foster's with you for just a day or two, and they really get attached.
Yeah.
So. They fill out a questionnaire, then we have someone who will call and do a phone interview, and we go over everything on the application. You know, do you have current pets? Are they vaccinated? Are they spayed and neutered? We do a vet check. We do 3 personal references, we do phone interviews, and we do an in-home visit. So, for most people, since we're a Florida-only rescue, we typically only adopt in the state of Florida. However, we will adopt out of state. We just it's a longer process, and our priority is if we can adopt the dog in Florida where it's easy for us to transport, and if it doesn't work out, the dog comes back to us, then that's part of the reason. We have done some out-of-state adoptions. Most of the time it's been for past adopters who have relocated out of state. So we already know them and we know what's going on. But we just focus heavily on community. We're in the state of Florida, mid and central Florida. Another rescue's down in South Florida, so they handle most of the
you guys can kind of network back and forth.
We do. Listen, Facebook, it's Meta, whatever you call it now. There's a group chat with all the presidents of all the Dachshund rescues in Florida. A lot of them are here today. We have our own group, and when one rescue is full and they get an intake request, they send it to us, and we work together. So if you're helping us, great. If you're helping them, great too. We're
Same goal.
all 501c3 volunteers. No salaries, no nothing. It's all done out of our home.
And I think too, with the application process, like I said, I've been doing this a long time too, and sometimes you hear a little grumble like, gosh, they want so much, it's a homeless dog. Well, I will say that when you've worked in a rescue and you've seen a dog bounce back, it can
100%
almost bring you to tears.
It does.
And it's not, sometimes, most of the time, it's not the adoptee's fault or the dog's fault. It just wasn't that right connection. So I'm assuming you're similar to franchise sales as we try our hardest to get it right the first time.
And I am so proud. I do not have the exact number off the top of my head, but I do know that our quote unquote return rate is less than 5%. Now our rescue has been around since 2003. So we've been doing this a very long time. We've rescued over 3,500 dogs. Everyone in the rescue is committed to the way we do things. We like to improve. We're going more digital. We're trying to do more things.
But it takes more volunteers. So let me ask you that too. So volunteers, one, if you are not able to foster, there's always something, photos, digital marketing,
social media,
all of that. So you're looking for someone that can manage
I'm in the next era of my life. And I don't have kids. I have dogs. I have 6 dogs. I have 6 dogs, but they don't know how to do social media.
They don't even have thumbs.
Yeah, they can't do anything. So other than be cute, and wreak havoc. Those are the 2 things.
So volunteers, even if you can't foster, there's always somewhere to do something. Work an event, a little bit of time. If you have a lot of time, everything in between.
We had someone come today that was here for 2 hours. It was a big, strong guy, and they said, "What do you need?"
Set everything up.
I said, "I need someone to unload the U-Haul, set it up for us, and then come back later. And he said, I'll do it.
Perfect.
He came, he showed up, he unloaded, he went home.
Right.
He's gonna come back later and help us break
so there's
everything
a spot
down.
for everything.
Everyone.
So let's talk a little bit about your foster program, because volunteers are great, right?
Yep.
Fosters, I assume that there's a little bit more of a, you want to make sure. Yeah.
There is structure.
So if someone says, gosh, I really love Dachshunds, thank you, really love Dachshunds.
He's trying to get to his mommy.
Well, and I figured he saw her over there. So if someone that wants to be a foster, like how do they do that? Do they reach out to you? Is there a spot on the website?
So we have everything on the website.
Okay.
Questions are asked and answered. There's contact. The application process is there. Fostering is very similar to adopting. We do a home visit. We do a reference check. We want to make sure that you're equipped to handle a dog coming in. So those are all the things we look at. If you've never fostered before, then we kind of walk you through the basic steps. And if you have, then we make sure that it's a fit, you're set up, and then it's easy. You go to the vet. The vets are on Build a Dare. So as a foster home, you're not putting out money.
You're just loving.
And let me just tell you, that is a huge thing, because when I first started 15 years ago, the rescue owed every vet in town. We were on credit with everyone. And so it's really a testament to the team that's in place that we're not, but we also don't operate on credit. We operate a true, like a business, a true cash business. If we don't have it, we can't operate.
You can't sink it. You can't sink the ship.
But we're not willing to go into massive credit card debt to save all the dogs that we're never going to recoup and then have to shut it down.
What is that saying? You can't borrow from Peter to pay Paul?
Exactly.
Eventually. So I'm the board president for Paws for a Cause Vet Care in Chicagoland. We do about $7 million a year in low cost spay, neuter, and wellness.
That's small potatoes. Our annual budget here averages between $75,000 to $100,000. Again, we're very small, but I think we're making a big impact.
There's veterinarian clinics and low cost spay and neuter. There's people that want to help, and it sounds like you're heavily networked with them.
We try.
So I'll ask you, how many times do you have to foster before you can foster fail? Or actually, let's explain to everyone, what's a foster failure?
Lovely that you asked that question. I just had this conversation with someone this morning. Okay, so you'll hear terminology throughout rescue called foster failing, and what that means is you have agreed to foster a dog in your home, and suddenly you're like, this dog can't leave, it's a member of the family, I want to keep it forever. And so a lot of people call that a foster fail. I don't necessarily subscribe to that.
I don't love the word, but
it's not a bad word. It's just you're not failing. You're kind of succeeding up, right? Like you're succeeding up. So we have failed several times.
Me too.
And the dog that I just had, perfect example. He came in for behavior issues. He needed to be an only dog. We put him with someone who has never, ever, ever foster failed. She's been with me 10 years. And she told me today when she showed up, he's the one.
Oh, good.
And I was like, what? And she said, all these years I've never failed at fostering, but this guy's the one.
You know, like sometimes it just, the right one just clicks,
and she has no other pets right now, and that's the home he needed.
It sounds like a perfect
He wasn't
fit.
happy in a multi-pack home. He needed to be an only dog. So it worked. It just works.
So foster failure, like I said, I don't always love the word, but the reason why a lot of rescue groups don't want you to foster and fail is because the point of the foster is to provide
get him in
a
and
home,
get him out.
Get him in, get him out. And if you're foster failure,
you hit a limit at some point.
It ends up being a.
Everyone hits a limit at some point.
I have a board member that does a lot with cats for Animal Rescue Foundation of Illinois, and she's never. I don't think she's ever foster failed, but she said when she started fostering, she put in her head that if she foster failed, she would be able to help less. So she says as much as she's got a little book, she takes a photo of each one. She has like this big thing on her door. She makes a big banner. But she said it hurts, but she feels the pain of the cat going to another home is painful, but she's like the smile you get. And she's like, whenever I'm sad, I can flip back through my book.
That part.
And she's fabulous. I get it.
I was interviewed here locally. The local news did a story on me as a hometown hero. But in preparation for that, I had to sit and go through our register of dogs. I've had, in my 15 years, I've had over 150 dogs in and out of my house alone, just my home.
That's
not
crazy.
In addition to the 3,500.
The one that you're temporarily keeping for the night to push somewhere else.
And so, and funny you mentioned that. In the story, there was one time in one weekend where I actually had 17 dogs at my house. Now it was my house is off the interstate. It was a midway point, so it was like 24 hours.
You're like the hub.
And some of them were puppies. I want to be clear. Some of them were moms and puppies. But when people hear 17 dogs, they're like, what? And
I can't even visualize like 17 Dachshunds. Like that just
a
seems like a
mom
lot
and
of
puppies. It's a lot.
Yeah. Well, good.
So it's awesome, but you know, just getting in and saying, hey, I want to help.
Yeah.
There's people who say, I'm in an era of my life where I'm retired, so I'm not able to do physical stuff. But if you want me to write thank you notes, handwritten thank you notes
many little
are
things.
a total lost art. Everyone wants to do digital, but when people get a handwritten thank you card, they love it.
Yeah.
So if there's someone who wants to write out thank you cards, get in touch with us.
Okay.
You know, we want to thank everybody who supports us.
Yeah. So before I wrap, Scoop Soldiers, we're nationwide. So if you have another network person that's in a different state or a different country, I'll grab you a card and we're happy to help. They can just go to scoopsoldiers.com. It's a form filled for customers, but they can put a note like, need sponsorship for blah, blah, blah in Kansas City. And some of you, we can't help for everything, but we really try our hardest to help. We realize that dogs that stay in home and dogs that are spay and neutered. Yes. That's how we solve the problem, right?
Listen, we're a Dachshund rescue. We love our purebred. No. We love our purebred Dachshunds, okay? All of mine. When we do Dachshund and Dachshund mixes, we all like purebred Dachshunds, but there is such an overwhelming pet population right now. I'm not saying don't ever breed, but we got to slow down what's going on. Right now, there's such irresponsible breeding. There is massive puppy mills, which is really where our focus is. The puppy mill situation is excruciating. If anyone has done any type of knowledge, I just don't know how they can go into a pet store and buy a puppy.
It makes me cringe.
I don't.
Do you guys work auctions? Animal Rescue Foundation of Illinois, where I volunteered quite a bit, we would, sometimes more in the South, there are auctions.
Like animal auctions?
Where you can go and you can be like, I'd like to bid on that dog. You take that dog home, and then that's also how a breeder, I shouldn't say that it's a breeder will...
So I don't know if they actually go on here. I've heard it, I've never seen one.
And I was physically sick. It just made me
But I will say this, our local, here in the Tampa Bay area, our local municipalities are really good. If they get a Dachshund in, they will contact us because, and their philosophy is, the shelters are bad enough, but it shouldn't be, little dogs don't do well in the shelter. It's really bad. If they're scared, they can be super nippy, and that
doesn't make them adoptable. It's a little harder to adopt.
But it classifies them as nippy, and that's not the case.
Because a nip now could be a bite later, and in the shelter, it's just and shelters are great. I mean, they're
saving them in the interim.
But they're I won't say a band, but they're like a Band-Aid to getting the dog into the home.
They're saving them in the moment, but they're not rehabbing them. They're not putting. That's where the rescues come into play.
Yeah, and so a lot of people don't know what a kill list is. So some shelters, they prepare what they call a kill list, and that's a similar term you guys use here, right? Okay, so a kill list, and the different rescues will have a volunteer that's in charge of the kill list. I only did it for a small amount of time. We usually rotate them around because it's very
draining.
So you end up with a kill list. You get an email from the rescue or the shelter saying, hey, we've got these dogs. And I'm like, okay, well,
you got
Alicia,
until 2 o'clock on Friday.
Alicia will she only wants to rescue 3-legged blind dogs. Ooh, okay, so I can take that one for Alicia. And then it's even, I won't say sickening. Then what happens is usually there's a rescue that's a transport rescue, and they go down to the shelter and they take all the cages and all the dogs and sometimes put them in a big old U-Haul truck, right?
Yep.
And then we go to a parking lot at the Home Depot or the Target, and then all the rescues come to one spot, and then we sort them out. Sometimes you think you're getting a Dachshund and you pull it out and it's a Shepherd.
Funny you say that, because we have, it's an unwritten rule in our rescue, and I'll take my glasses off so you can see.
Don't cry.
I'll cry. Many times we have gone to the shelter to pick up a Dachshund, and when we get there and see the full body, it is not a Dachshund.
And we know an intact Shepherd.
We know which shelters are kill shelters. Some are not kill, some will keep it and find it a home. Most of the time, I just take the leash and we leave, and I'm like, it's Dachshund enough in the eyeballs. It's Dachshund in the eyes.
And you probably know someone.
I look at it and I'm like, there's really not a lot of Dachshund here. I'm like, but this guy's not going to make it if we don't rescue him. So I'm like,
how would you turn around?
I see the Dachshund in the eyes. Come on, let's go.
And
we've all done it. We've all done it.
Yeah, they're kind of crazy. So, all right, so somebody that wants to adopt can go to the website.
DareToRescue.org.
Somebody that wants to volunteer can go to the website. Somebody that wants to foster can go to the website.
And if they want to donate,
they can go to the website. Perfect. Well, I mean, Scoop Soldiers will help as much as we can.
Thank you.
We'll get you a card. Please stay in touch with us.
Absolutely.
And we would we would love to help. I mean, you do such great work, and now I'm gonna cry.
And you got to come back to our November event. The weather is amazing.
Yeah, there was one of your other volunteers in here. She didn't have a shirt with a name on it, but we were gonna get her information. Franchise owner here will be interested in helping.
It's Florida in November. The weather is amazing, and we're at a winery. I mean, can you?
EJ, Josh.
Wieners and wine. I mean, it's like a thing.
So I'm just, you can tell me if I'm wrong. I think that the business development director of Scoop Soldiers should be at the November wine and wiener event.
I absolutely think you should, because you're like the best brand ambassador, and we got good chemistry here. We could have our own like on the road show going on. I definitely think she should be here.
You know what? I think I'm gonna push.
Definitely.
We're gonna do it. All right. Well, thank you so
Thank
much,
you
my
so
friend.
much. Have a great
day. Thank you.